I could have been telling like for gazillion times to the client that we are not going to be in Vogue tomorrow. Everyone wants to be in Forbes, an entrepreneur, like everyone wants to be in Vogue. Working at the Olympic Games in Sochi in 2014 for New York Fashion Week also. Like some of them really do the job better than PR managers. And I was like, I think we're all like family, we're all friends. They can tell me anytime if they don't like anything and it's fine. And if you are a crazy person, just write about that. I'm a crazy person, I will drive you crazy, and that's actually also okay.
I love that.
Yeah, at one time it's like the mother of two, but at the same time she's like a successful business owner. Polina, aren't you afraid to like post this kind of things because people will see and like not work with you? And I'm like, that it's not my people and it's fine. They will find someone else who would suit them better, and that's it. Texting me, and I was like, really guys? I mean, could we do the same over the emails?
I never expected that.
Yeah. Have you seen my ad? Like really seen my ad? And they were like, yeah, we see your experience and we want to learn from you.
Hi, this is She Did It Show, and I'm your host, Daria Mutrova. Today, I'm so happy to present to you our guest, Polina Kurach. Polina, she has been working on such events as Olympic Games in Sochi 2014, Rio de Janeiro 2016, Expo 2017, and New York Fashion Weeks. She was representing her clients at such international events as World Economic Forum in Davos, Expo in Dubai, and Astana. She was working in such companies as Condé Nast, Mikhailov and Partners, and many, many more. Today she's in our studio, and I'm so happy to see her and to go with her for all her career achievements, challenges, how she ended up from Olympic Games to representing in big media coverages, startups and brands. And of course, we'll speak more deeply about PR and communication and networking and how did she all did it. Hi, Polina.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me. It's my pleasure to be here.
It's my pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for coming, and I'm so happy to see you today.
Likewise.
So before we dive deeper to PR, communications, networking, which I hope and I'm sure will be so useful to hear to sole entrepreneurs, creative entrepreneurs, bloggers, experts, and people who are owning and doing business, small business, and having brands. I would love to hear a little bit more about your background. And I think it will be great if you'll start with your educational background. How did you start working in PR and events? And let's start from that.
Of course. I think that actually you've introduced me great enough, so I don't know if I can actually put in something else there, but I've studied PR originally, and I went there just because I was looking for some education where you won't have math or algebra or anything. So I've had it for 5 years, and I hated it so much. For 4 years, sorry. I hated it so very much. And in between the studies at PR, I had half a year abroad at University of Bologna. But I was really lucky, and even though I was bachelor at that time, they got me to a master program because, well, I was pretty annoying, and I really wanted badly that program because it was fashion management, and I really want to see what I can do with fashion there. And it was an amazing half a year with amazing experience. And yeah, then I finished my studies and went off to all the Olympic Games. And yeah, so about my experience, I started off in events.
At the university, you've been studying
the higher school of economics.
Right.
Because, well, my parents thought I would meet a rich husband there and wouldn't have to find any job. But, well, here I am. I didn't do the husband, but I did all the other work.
Everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
achievements.
yeah, and actually my first job working at the Olympic Games in Sochi in 2014 was only at my second or third year at university. So I was quite lucky because I started right away.
Yeah, so actually I think it's impressive. Right at the university you applied to work in Olympic Games. How that happened? How did it shape your career in the future? Because I think it's such an important, it's like a milestone right in the beginning when you start.
It was amazing because when you studying in the university, you never know if you're really going to pursue the career in the sphere that you've chosen. If you are not like a doctor or lawyer, I mean, those are careers that you really have to do all the way. And when I was studying PR, initially I thought that, okay, it's about the communication, so it should be fun, it should be interesting, but I went to the Olympic Games trying to actually find out what suits best for me. And I was working with amazing cameramen. So I was like a producer, like assistant producer or something. And I've been helping people who were filming news in Afghan, who are currently covering Ukraine, who've been filming the Queen of England family. And those are people with amazing experience. And whenever you're helping them, you don't care what exactly you are doing, as long as you are with them, as long as you are learning what they have to tell you, and as long as actually you are getting some experience. And so it wasn't about me trying myself in different positions and trying different kind of jobs and like analyzing it all. It was me truly trying to get their job done better with my presence there. And they all were really extremely grateful for that, just because I really tried my best. And actually Sochi got me one advice that I'm still living on. So one of my cameramen, his name is Scott, he was from New Zealand. And once he told me, whenever we faced some problems and everything, because like my biggest challenge there was to solve every unsolvable problem, because it's like a huge event.
I guess there've been a lot.
Yeah, it's a huge event, and I mean, as any huge event, it has a lot of flaws, problems, rules, and everything. And also it's like an international event, and you have a lot of security, you have a lot of things to like take care of, and they are not usually taken care of 100%, just because like it's normal, we are all human. There are a lot of things coming up like in the last moment and everything. So there were a lot of things to solve, and sometimes when there were some problems where I was literally really struggling to solve, he just came to me and he said, every problem has a number. And it's still like it's the status for all of my WhatsApp and any messenger that I have, because it's been
phone
on my
number,
mind.
right?
Yeah. It's been in my head ever since, because actually, really, if you think of like any problem that you have ever had, you really have a number in your phone. Even though you're not networker or anything, you have a number in your phone that could help you, at least like listen to you, at least like help you with advice, or help you, I don't know, with finding a job, or finding money, or finding anything, or solving any kind of problem. That's pretty kind of easy, and this is, I guess, how I started wrapping my mind around this networking thing. Because whenever people ask me for things, I know how to get them. I know how to help them with that. And that's actually been my to-go phrase and to-go thing ever since. So if people ask me, like, what is like the best thing that I do, what's my, I don't know, specialty or something, I always tell them that it's like being in contact with people, being in touch with people. And it's something really simple that anyone could do, because it's like cheap. You don't have to do anything for that. You don't have to, I don't know, get it through a special kind of job. You don't have to talk with special people. It's just about communicating with anyone you see. And the other day in New York, I was walking through Soho, and there was the guy who was trying to take pictures of various people, and some people ignored him, and he just laughed at that, like really not in a bad way, but in really like fun way. And he was like, yeah, you never know who are you speaking to in New York. And that was, that's true. And that's really fun about the city. That's why I like coming here also when I'm traveling, because you really never know who you meet here. And it's like a concentration of amazing people who do amazing thing. And we never know, maybe he was one of the top photographers in the world, you never know. Or he was just a guy who's, I don't know, living somewhere and just came to the city to take his pictures for the first time. But that's the magic.
Yeah, you never know where it could lead.
And that's the most amazing about networking. So we haven't known each other for what, like 2 months or something, and now we're sitting here with you and doing this amazing interview, and this is what I like about networking.
And we have a couple people, right?
Yeah, in common.
Yeah,
And that's
true.
also cool about New York, that everyone knows like everyone. It's like a small village, and you meet people one by one, and it's amazing.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, speaking about your New York experience working in New York, I know that you've been working in New York Fashion Week and you've been organizing PR for fashion brands. How that happened? Could you describe the process working on that type of project?
So yeah, I've been working with a fashion brand for New York Fashion Week also. They needed some coverage, and they really needed help here on hands with the whole setup of the New York Fashion Week for them. And they were the part of one show. So there has been a lot of things to think about, and I was very excited to come here just to see how they work also, because it's very crucial for me to be in touch with the brand, to know exactly what they are doing, because whenever you're doing PR, you have to know everything about your client. So it's like you're like a lawyer or gynecologist. That's also always how I talk about PR. It's just business has to tell you everything about what they're doing, and it's not about me going and telling everyone about this kitchen that we have inside the company. It's me about knowing how to protect the company if it's needed. And yeah, so whenever they told me that they're going to have a fashion week and they actually like need some help with that, I was really happy also to jump on that task as well, apart from PR, because that would be an amazing experience for me again to be a part of these greater, bigger events, because you can never, have the similar experience working at events like Olympics. You can work there. You work there, and it's like a whole new world. I couldn't return to Sochi 9 years. For 9 years, I couldn't just be back to that city just because it represented something different for me, something that was like back way there in 2014. And so for me, it was just this drive and this desire to be a part of it again, and it was magical. And it was a lot of things that you would never think about Fashion Week. You really think that they are just beautiful girls doing all the dress up,
very
fancy.
On the backstage, right?
Oh wow, that was crazy. I remember one girl, and I think she's like the meme for me now, and she's like the most exciting lady that I've met there. So she was one of the designers also, which was doing that fashion show, and she was walking there casually with a bottle of champagne in her hand, and the show hasn't even started, and I saw that like she had quite enough. And I was like, what's you holding there? And she said, oh girl, my boyfriend presented me with this one because it's my first fashion week. And I was like, yeah, he's the best boyfriend you could ever had. And she's like, do you want some? And she holds me this bottle. And I'm like, yeah, I do. Just because, everyone needs this kind of friend, or like this beautiful blonde girl with a champagne who hands you this over whenever you need.
You've been working as part-time, right? As a freelancer. You have been working on so many projects, and as I understood, you had a small, you almost didn't work in the office. Why is that? How those experiences working in Olympic Games and New York Fashion Week shaped your will to work freelance?
That's a great question. So first of all, my parents are a stewardess and a pilot. Mm-hmm. So I've never had any role models of people working in the office. All I've seen is my parents going off to, New York, Shanghai, Thailand, and everywhere. And they were working at the airlines whenever there were no so many routes and everything. So for example, they could go to some islands like Cayman Islands and stay there for a month or so, just because there is no return flight. And this is how my childhood went. I knew that they're everywhere. I knew that they're traveling the world, and basically the only thing I wanted to do is travel the world. So I thought, okay, PR is about communications. I can talk to everyone anywhere, so it's fine. Will do. And then I got onto events, and I realized that events are something that I could use to travel. So first of all, it wasn't about like actually doing the job or anything. It was about me exploring the world, meeting new people, making new connections, and actually like enjoying myself. Because as they say, like you really need to enjoy what you're doing. So that's what I was trying to do. And sometimes it was part-time things. Sometimes I've been working remotely. Sometimes it was project work. So for example, in Kazakhstan, in Astana, I've been living for half a year because they had an expo there, and I was
2017.
Yeah, 2017, and I've been responsible for like the first MTV concert in Kazakhstan, and I've been responsible for like 3 or 4 various events also around the expo time. And for example, as for remote work, I had like a little thing that I never told anyone. So, so anyone but my closest friends. I had a job with a client who was in Dubai, and actually it was like a really long project job for like 2 or 3 years. So I've been his advisor in communications and everything, and he was working all around the world, but mostly he's been staying in Dubai and in London, where his family is based, and he really asked me precisely to stay in Moscow just in case he will need something there. So, and he was like sure I was working from Moscow. So what I did, I went to Hawaii, and well, you know, you can
quite different time, different.
That's it. So whenever it was like 9 p.m. in Hawaii, and of course I've been surfing all day, I've been having fun, and I've been enjoying myself. So whenever it was 9 p.m. in Hawaii, it was like 7 a.m. in Dubai, and he was waking up and calling like, okay, we'll have like this kind of meetings today. I want you to be there, like present this, present that.
I hope he will not watch this interview.
Wow.
It will be
let's go. I'm sorry. But really, and so the struggle is whenever you meet different time zones, and the struggle is when you have like certain deadlines to check out. And of course, I mean, my work reputation is very important to me. So even though I might not tell you that I'm in Hawaii, I will definitely do the job, and that's really what's important for me. And so I can be sleepless for a few nights, or I can really like stay in my place or in the hotel for the whole day, but the job should be done. And that's the downside of all those constant travels and everything, because at first you think it's like so much fun, you are going all around, but whenever you come to the place, for example, like for a week or for 2 weeks, like okay, you come to Italy, and you understand that your working day is actually like it should be from around 9 or 10 a.m. and at like, I don't know, 6, 9, whatever. And you have to be available at that time. You have to be near your iPad or MacBook or anything at that time, especially when you are not like the owner of the business, but when you are like working with your hands on. And it's very important to understand that you can't go anywhere at that time. So whenever, like, for me, it was a bit like crush of the dreams whenever you come to the project. For example, in when I was working in Ashgabat in Turkmenistan, it's like an incredible country to be in, because it's the country where like not that much people can enter, and there is a lot to explore, a lot to see, and there is a lot about their culture. But I've been working for like it was Asian Martial Games, and I was working there, I don't know, from 7 a.m. to like 11 p.m. and you have like basically no time left to visit the country. And this is something that all my colleagues from events will understand, that you are you're traveling, but you're not.
Spend time in the place. Yeah, and speaking about managing your time management, so you have so many projects that you're working on. Do you hire assistants to help you? And how do you manage that aspect of your career workflow?
That's my favorite one. So for me, it has been really hard to take every project that I have, and it has been very hard to actually control how workflow goes on every on that. And I realized that I want to grow. I realized that I want to do more. I realized that there are some tasks like hands-on things that I don't want to do anymore. like, I don't know, doing Excels or Word docs or anything. I mean, it takes a lot of amount of time, and this time that I could use to, like, I don't know, find new clients, find new projects,
some
fly
routine
somewhere.
things.
Yeah, or like simply go to the gym. And I started thinking about what can I do about that. And I realized that, okay, at the point when I started hiring assistants and looking into like delegating things, I didn't have like much money to spend on that. And I mean, why would I have an assistant? Am I like a big Forbes guy or what? So it's like really, it's a lot of things like psychologically to like really accept.
It's like mindset. You need to switch to like that you're entrepreneur. That you're doing your business. You're growing. You give people
exactly. So it's like a different way of thinking, and I'm used to think that I need to be the best myself at all the things I do before I delegate something or before, I don't know, hand it to something.
So you need to try that first. You need to know what
so
the
for
process
me,
is.
Exactly. So I'm still trying not to do that, because I mean, people I hire just because they do it better than you. And I mean, this is something to wrap your head around. And so yeah, what I started doing is whenever I worked on some big projects, I've had interns from like the company that hired me. They tell me, okay, we have this system, you can have an intern, whatever. And I was like, okay, why would I use people who like just study in the university and probably know nothing? And for me, it was about only educating them, not about actually using their like time or something. So I got into telling people how to do things. Like I spent more time on working because I spent time on educating them. And then whenever I saw that they actually do, like some of them really do the job better than PR managers. And I was like, how does it work? I mean, you haven't had that much experience. I just explained to you that one time and you already do it better.
Pick it up,
Yeah. And the thing is that in the university, people do get theory, but they don't have like hands-on experience, because in PR, it's like something that is really crucial. And I started seeing that those girls pick up very fast and those boys pick up very fast. And I was really shocked about that. And then one by one, I started to telling them, okay, do you want to work with me? Do you want to be my assistant? I don't have much to pay, but well, I can teach you something if you want. But again, it won't be like full day or something. So really slowly I started doing that. And after some time, I've been already telling all my friends and some of like guys who have big companies, some entrepreneurs, I've been telling them and educating them on how to actually delegate or how to really like get yourself an assistant, because it's like a common thing that people don't know where to start.
Let's make an example. For example, if someone right now is struggling, like doing these all routine things which he can delegate, how he will find his first assistant, what he should pay attention, how he should communicate his business goals, or
I have a lecture on that, but let's cut it short.
Okay.
So
I know that you're an expert, that's why I'm here.
So the simplest thing you could do, first of all, for yourself, just to understand what things you can or want to delegate, just make yourself an Excel table, or I don't know, write it in your notepad, whatever. Things that I want to do, things that I don't want to do, and things that I think I wouldn't want to do, like in the nearest future. So for example, you just live through 3 days of your life, and everything that comes up to your mind or everything you do, you just put in those columns. So for example, you wake up, okay, do you want to prepare yourself breakfast? Or do you want someone to deliver it to you? Or do you want someone to cook it for you? Those are 3 different things. And either you do it yourself, or you order some catering or something, like there are a bunch of companies, or you just, I don't know, hire a chef who does it for you every day. Will it save you time? Of course it will.
Budget
But still, there is an option. So for example, I'm now ordering food, and for 12 dishes, I pay 150. And it's like, the food is really amazing. I haven't had that in many countries, so I'm really happy with that. And the price is like crazy. It's like one time going to the grocery store for me for 4 or 5 days. So it's really amazing.
It's not ad integration. So I wanted to ask, what is that?
Yeah, I'll tell you about that later. Yeah, so I mean, I delegated that somehow, not to a person, but to a company that delivers me once a week. It doesn't take any much of my time. It takes only 1.5 minutes for me to put it in the microwave. That's it.
Yeah, and like probably it's the same money you will spend cooking and
of
maybe
course,
more.
even more, because for me, like,
time.
For me, cooking, I spend like around an hour to cook everything, to prepare it, to make it really delicious, to put everything in the dishwasher and everything. So I really save like a minimum hour and a half or 2 hours every day because I don't cook, and that's amazing. That's how you do. So you walk through like at least 3 days of your life and you put all the things down there. And even though you don't understand how to delegate them, for example, I don't know, you can't afford a cleaning lady who will come and set up all the beauty things for you at your place. So it's fine. Just find ways how you can really optimize the process. And then you will have a column of things that you don't want to do. And this is the things that you need assistance for. And sometimes they are like very different. So you need help with like business tasks, or you need help with home tasks. So sometimes people will think, okay, I need a personal assistant and a business assistant for that. Who would do that? Again, it's the thing that if people want to learn from you, if people want to like be your assistants, then they wouldn't care what task they have to do. So it will come really all natural with you, because mostly, I mean, my politics with my assistants and managers and everything, we're all like family, we're all friends. They can tell me anytime if they don't like anything, and it's fine. And at the same time, I can give them any like reasonable task. But again, I talk about all the things that they will do or should do for me, like month ahead or like whenever we start the job. So it's very important, first of all, for yourself to derive those things that you want to do, and
so
want to be done.
First you write, then you understand what you don't like, and you go into some platforms, right? And you start to look for a person, or you go to your connections, social media. How do you...
The easiest thing is social media. It's like the easiest thing. So whenever I thought that I need an assistant, I went to my Instagram, and even though at that time I remember I had like around 200 followers, which was like really small, and I posted this ad like, hey, I'm looking for assistant. I think I even told that it's not like even paid properly or something, so I was very, very clear about what I need. And
that's important. You need to be
very clear.
Yeah.
So basically what you do, you're just writing that, okay, I'm XYZ, I do XYZ, that I can teach you, or you can learn from me XYZ, I can help you with XYZ, and this is something that I will need to do, like this is my budget, or like we'll discuss the budget, but it's not higher than something, and people will start like writing you. So for example, I got responses from people with CVs, and in the CVs I see that they want salary approximately around $3,000. So I've had a call with that girl, like there were like I think 1 or 2 girls, and I had a call with them, and I was like, have you seen my ad, like really seen my ad? And they were like, yeah, we see your experience and we want to learn from you.
Okay.
So I mean, that point...
So you need also actually to sell yourself.
I really didn't try to do that, but I don't know how.
You have a right LinkedIn page, you do your own online presence. We actually will talk about that later.
Of course.
How it's important.
It's about actually being yourself, being really true to what you can offer, true to what you can do. It's not about over-promising people that you will help them or that you will teach them or anything. No, it's really about how the job with you will look like. And if you are a crazy person, just write about that. I'm a crazy person, I will drive you crazy, and that's actually also okay.
I love that.
Because what I've been doing on my socials, even though I've never did like blogging or something, I've been always very honest about what I am, and people who would like to work with me, they know already who I am. And sometimes I've been asked like, Polina, aren't you afraid to like post this kind of things because people will see and like not work with you? And I'm like, that it's not my people, and it's fine. They will find someone else who would suit them better, and that's it. So you like every person will find his half or his assistant or whatever. Just be clear about that. And again, so it's social media, of course, where you tell about the thing that you are looking for assistant. It's your friends, it's your family, it's your colleagues, even if you
can be some platforms as well, but there you need to
there are various freelance platforms, like I don't know, the most popular one is Upwork. You can use any other platform, because there are some platforms especially for like designers, for like people who are mostly in art and everything. So it depends on what assistant you need. If you need need someone to do Photoshop for you, like edits and something, then of course you will go there because you're more likely to find a person who specializes in that mostly.
Yeah.
So that's it.
That's true.
It's about your
Yeah,
preferences.
that's good. That's a good point. And like when you hired, how do you organize or control their working process, the time management in a team? Do you use any apps? Maybe I know like some apps, Asana.
Yeah.
Sometimes they help.
Trello and
Trello,
everything. Yeah.
Do you use those apps, or you communicate like WhatsApp, just like send a message like, hey, I need like something?
It depends.
week or
Yeah,
next
it depends on the project. It depends on the group because sometimes I use Trello. Sometimes I use just an Excel board. Sometimes we just communicate in the chat. So it depends on the like how big the project is, how many people there are. Because also you have Microsoft Teams, you have all those like various platform like ERP platforms and everything. But whenever I don't have some massive programs, it's easier for me to communicate with person just in a chat. But I always ask them to keep a list of things that is on their plate. So for example, with my managers and assistants, I really don't want them to remind me of something they do, and I really don't want to overload them. So I usually go to that Excel sheet and I see what's done, what's not, what's the deadline, what's the task, where's the result. And also I've always hated when people are asking me for like gazillion times, where is that document, where is that document? So in the like again in this like timetable or schedule of people I work with, I always see the links to the documents I need. So even if like it's, I don't know, 2 a.m. in New York and it's like, I don't know, 9 a.m. or whatever in Milan, if anyone needs any document, they don't need to wake up anyone. We just push the button and it's there.
Yeah, it's great.
So yeah, it's pretty simple. But yeah, there are a lot of tools. It depends on what kind of person you are. So if you're very chaotic, then ask your like assistants or managers help you with being more productive, like to clean up the mess after you. And if you are really like a person of like an Excel person like I am, I really like everything to have really neat, not to look for everything. So yeah, just try to organize your process as neat as possible, because sometimes like all those Asana apps, all of those apps are too much.
Yeah, I feel you. Like you've been working a lot on events, and after that it was a transition. You switched to PR, so right now you focused on PR more. How that happened, coming back to your professional way?
Sure.
Yeah, how was that transition?
So for me, it has always been about the communication. So that's why I don't like to be associated only with PR. For me, it's like strategic communications in general, because communications are about building relationship with people. And whenever you do events, you build relationship with people to solve the problem, to make things happen, and I don't know, to do some event magic. And whenever you are doing PR, you're communicating with your client, and it's like in-depth communication with your clients. It's a lot about trust, a lot about being friends, being like co-workers, colleagues, I don't know, being everything for your client. Because if you are working closely, for example, with CEOs, it's like press secretaries and everything. I mean, we've seen all those series about how close they get, let's say, at work. And it's really about building this strong connection, because the bigger your company is, the most closest your connection should be, just because you need to know upfront about everything that's going on with the company, and you need to know all the reasons, like all the things to protect your company from. You need all the ways, like your CEO things and everyone. So most of the PR people, whenever they work really good with their clients, whenever their clients are growing and everything, they know how to formulate like a quote from their client. They know how their client thinks, they know how their clients like does things, and your client may even not ever check what you've written there in the quote, just because he knows he can trust you. Yeah. And so it's about like deeper level of communication. Again, it's communication with the journalist. And again, you can just simply come to the journalist and say, hey, we've opened our first shop. Or you can think of the ways to sell it. You can think of the way to talk about that. Like, have you seen, we had Cardi B at our shop opening, and she did XYZ with XYZ. And it's like a very different approach to the topic. And it's a whole new area where you're really like the tail is wagging the dog, basically, and it's a whole new area where you are thinking of various things to sell your point, and that's valuable. All the communication in between all the involved parties. So,
so you're focused on PR. So what are you focusing like as a PR manager? Do you work with? I know like it's better if you work, for example, with journalists from like beauty, lifestyle, or tech, or that. And because it's all about the communication, right? You come to some event, you meet those people, and you build those connections. It's really important part, like communicate with them. And what's your focus? What's your group of journalists you are communicating mostly?
That's a great question. So, as in most cases in my life, I can never choose just because I want to do all of it. And anyway, I'm trying to concentrate on startups and concentrate on like major companies, because with those kind of clients, you always need all sort of journalists. So, for example, if you have like a medtech startup that sell, for example, checkups. It's not only about the business side, it's also about the lifestyle side, because checkups are about your health. It's about like doing some visits to the doctor. It's about eating healthy. It's about exercise and everything, and it's lifestyle.
Yeah, so actually you can sell the owner of the brand as an expert, and it's also advertising of the company, right?
Yeah, so it's also whenever your client, like the CEO of the brand or the founder of the brand, really is a very charismatic person, you can sell them through lifestyle, and they can tell about how they do job. Like here again, it's not about business, it's about lifestyle. But at the same time, I can talk about business, numbers and everything at like a different show, And so that's why I love when clients give me the flexibility of trying to show them from different sides,
from angles,
different angles, different sides, because it's really important. Because like at one time it's like the mother of two, but at the same time she's like a successful business owner. She copes with everything, and I don't know how she does it. And this is what's interesting.
Yeah, like speaking about like brands, right? When they decide to do PR, there are so many ways.
Yeah,
like they can do social media, promotion, events. Media coverages, like so many things existing. What do you advise? I understand it's all very individual,
of course,
but what you are focused on when someone comes to you with some request?
So my first concern is to make sure that it's my client. By my client, I mean that this client really needs PR. Because sometimes clients come and they say, okay, we need PR, and I'm like, okay, what do you need PR for? And whenever they tell me that, okay, we want like a line of clients here every day from 9 a.m. And you just understand that it's not about PR. PR will never do that. I mean, it might do that, but not really. So you understand that this person needs probably like salesperson or sales department or marketing or I don't know, integrations or something else. So it's not things that you can do here if you're not like an integrated agency or like multitasking agency, because there are a lot of those too. And for me, it's very important to understand that the client has what it needs to be featured in the media he needs. So for example, of course, everyone wants to be in Forbes, an entrepreneur, like everyone wants to be in Vogue, but whenever clients come, they think that their product is the best on the market. And of course, it is because they are making it like 24/7. They're making it real. They are making it grow. But sometimes, you know how to compare it with other solutions on the market. You know where they stand, and it's really important for them also to know where they stand on the market. Because if they're like really unique solution, that there are no solution like that, they have higher chances to be like in top media. But if they're just the same solution as everyone else, then it's really hard to stand out. So you have to be more creative around that. You have to think about extra options. And the question is if the client is willing to go about those extra options, if his business is growing fast enough or great enough so we could use all those options, and if they can actually afford that. Because sometimes, you can, I don't know, ask Rihanna to come be an ambassador for the brand. But again, it's like,
your budget
it's costly, So also you can do some creative things, but again, it's mostly about marketing and like advertising, creative department, because classical PR is only about non-paid media placements. So it's classical PR.
Yeah, it's not like I can pay my PR manager and we'll be on the book cover or whatever.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
this
that's
is not how it works.
Exactly. It's not how it works. And actually, you pay your PR manager for honesty, really.
Yeah, but PR manager doesn't pay to journalists, right?
No,
so
we don't pay to journalists.
Yeah,
So
it's a whole thing. Journalist has to be interested.
Yeah, so this is the most important thing, that you don't pay for the publications. You may have a paid partnership with some media outlet, which is like a big special project or something that you do together, and it's really interesting thing also to do. But whenever it comes
or
just
sponsorship,
to sponsorship, something like that, and those are amazing tools as well. But whenever clients are coming to us, they usually are interested in non-paid placements, just because normal media do not do paid placements. At least if we're speaking about US, it's not really common to buy some placements. So for example, if we are speaking about, I don't know, European media, or if we're speaking about CIS media, they do paid placements, and it's fine. So for example, if you go to Kazakhstan, it's mostly about picking what paid placement you are going to do. It's not about really pitching for free, and people who work in Kazakhstan, they know it. And it's about like various regions again. So here in US, first of all, non-paid placements are the first thing that we need to think about. We need to think about the media outlets that would be suitable for this or that client. We need to make sure, this is really important, to manage the expectations of the client. This is the thing that every PR manager, every PR person, I don't know, maybe in the various industries it works the same, but in PR it's extremely important to manage the expectations of the client, because I could have been telling for gazillion times to the client that we are not going to be in Vogue tomorrow. But again, it's about his expectations in his head that you cannot change, that he still expects it, and it's fine. It's really fine. It's just you should also to understand that at this certain level, when it's not that too long for the road, where he's like, okay, we've been working for a year. What's that?
Where is my coverage?
Where's my coverage? Yeah. So this is something that you should be aware of. So set expectations for your client, and if you are from the client point of view, just listen to your PR manager, trust him, find a PR manager that you trust. Do not hire a few people to do the job, but won't ever do the trick. And it's really the same as with the lawyer or with any doctor. You just have to trust the guy. That's it. You just either you trust or you change it and you find someone else. Like with psychologists as well, you are not questioning his expertise whenever you are in therapy. The same here. So if you see in 3 or 4 months that your partnership doesn't work well, that you do not get what you were told you will get, or that you expect, then it's the point where you really rethink your partnership. But apart from that, just trust and leave that be.
Yeah, so actually, if you speak about limited budget, right? So there are lots of experts, bloggers, also entrepreneurs with small brand owners. They even don't, for example, that happened with me. I had the company in Russia, my beauty box, and I even never thought about PR. I found my way to promote via bloggers, and that worked 2016 very well. But when I came to US, I realized that I need media coverage, for example. And I was like, wow, why I did not work with PR manager? But I had a limited budget for that. But what will be the right decision in that situation? For example, have a small brand, you have maybe assistant, you thinking to hire manager, PR manager, and what will be the way you will go that way?
So it actually depends on the product that you are selling. So, for example, if we take your product, the beauty box, it's an amazing product to be actually pitched through the influencers. And for example, now it's a big boom of micro influencers, and most of them are really willing to get this portfolio of advertising themselves. They are looking for barter as well, and you could start off with those. So you could see how it works, if it works for your brand. It's also really important now for social media, if we're speaking about that, to have a targetologist, which will help all those posts and all those mutual stories and reels and everything go viral. And also recently what I've discovered is that Reels are a very amazing instrument to work with also. So you could, like your assistant, if she has like, I don't know, an hour of spare time or 2 hours of spare time, or you give her this task specifically, she could do Reels like basically every day or like every other day, and that could also help because now Instagram is promoting Reels organically.
Yeah, so with limited budget, that will be Instagram, right?
Yeah,
Okay, also any social media.
With limited budget, with like beauty products, for example, or the products that you need to show, or the products that you will need to show the results from, Instagram would be the best platform just because it's about visuals and it's about showing before, showing after, showing how it works, showing what you get. And because actually if you like have publication, for example, New York Times about, okay, your brand, for example, it of course will bring you customers, but they won't see what results you have. They won't see like that much of what you do or what you can offer. And so it's about different types of content. But at the same time, you could do PR as well. So it's about
by yourself. You could pitch magazines.
You could try do that. I mean, I don't know if it will work for every person because again, if when you're owning a company, when you are managing the company, you just don't have time to sleep. So
That's
I mean,
true,
you wouldn't have any time to pitch or anything. Yeah. So what you could do is you could find someone who is just starting their job in PR, or like someone who's willing to do part-time. So part-time people are the best ones just because they set some set of KPIs or goals with you, or like where they aim, and they will tell you, like you can interview actually a few of them, because usually when you interview people, this is also like a little life hack on how to understand how you get going. So you just interview a range of specialists, and all of those give you a little consultation on how they see their work with you. And this is the way for you to choose the way you want to go, and also the way for you to understand how the any sphere that you have no idea about works. So for example, if you would speak with like 5 or 7 PR managers and they would tell you like various things, you would feel which one suits your business better because you're the business owner, and at the same time you would hear all the options. And for example, if you hire only one person, you tell him, okay, I've heard that we can also do this, that, and that, and that. What do you think about that? And he's like, yeah, that's the great idea, let's do that. And this is how it works. And basically the most important thing to remember is that PR, at least for me, PR is a partnership with a company. It's not that you come in the company, you receive your money, and then somehow the publications appear. It's about the owner of the business, or the CEO, or a lot of top managers that are speakers for the company, or a lot of departments that I need information from. They are sourcing me the information. They're literally like, they're talking to me, really. They're not afraid of like telling things, explaining me things. I can ask a gazillion of various stupid questions just because I am not I'm not obliged to know everything about the industry. It's their job to know. My job is to get the things that they know and to transmit them in the most amazing way to the media, that they would be like, okay, we haven't heard about that, or okay, like this is something really interesting, let's do that. So it's about me, it's about communicating with the everyone in the process and like doing the best job. So yeah, what you could do is try to find someone part-time, not that costly. Again, all those platforms like Upwork and everything, you could see what people offer you, and you can see if you really need that or not.
Yeah.
Because you could really get off with I don't know, Instagram, with TikTok and everything, and it would be like fine with you. Yeah.
Can do an amazing job.
Yeah.
Actually, that's like whatever I'm hearing, it's like such a big part of what you do. It's communication.
Yeah.
Communication within team, within people you hire, with journalists, with influencers, with so many like top leaders, right? And like industries like who are leading the companies. Yeah. And what will be your advices? How about the communication skills, how to develop those communication skills? What will be your advice to people who want to achieve that level of communication?
So for me, it's just about getting to know people. So I never approach people just because I have a goal to network with them or I have a goal to get something from them. So it's also very important because whenever you're just talking to people with no particular thought in mind that you need from them, it's easier for you to get relaxed and it's easier for them to understand that you're just talking to them, and that's it. And you never know when you will need them, and if you just keep in touch also, it's very important to keep in touch, because after you meet a person, first of all, you need to remember each other somehow. So you subscribe to their, I don't know, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, and you sometimes when you see something funny on their feed or something interesting in their stories, don't be shy to react on that, don't be shy to reply on that, because I've made a few connections and a few really, really good friends, like all over the world, just because we've met actually on the Instagram. Like, we followed each other, don't even know for what reason. We started like liking each other or something, communicating, and that's it. Now we're like best friends with some of those people. And that's the most interesting part, that you can make connections everywhere. Either it's on Instagram, or it's in the street, or it's like, I don't know, Tinder, Bumble, whatever, or it's on the networking party, or it's at the event. So never miss a chance to meet someone. And if it's hard for you to start conversation, if it's hard for you to do something, then there are also some ice-breaking things. Like, the thing that I like the most is some really silly accessory, like the silliest accessory you could think about, or the nicest one. And people would comment on that. People would say, oh, that's a nice bag. And this is something that like starts the conversation.
Especially in the US. I mean, it's always something, oh, such a shoe.
Yes,
it's like
here people love just making really nice compliments to each other and just use it as a start of dialogue. You haven't started that one, someone complimented on you, but you say, oh wow, you have a nice blouse. By the way, I'm Polina, I do XYZ, what are you doing? That's it. Yeah. So it's as simple as that. And again, it's not about like getting out on the street like immediately after you watch the show. It's about actually thinking about, who do you know? Like, open your contact list and see who do you know, and there would be a bunch of people that you haven't talked to or seen recently for like a gazillion of years. Just try to text them like, hey, how are you doing? I haven't seen you for ages. I thought of you just because, I don't know, watch the series that we used to watch, or something like that. Of course, you don't go like texting that to your exes. Don't do that. But still, I mean, some people would be surprised just because they've never like had someone ghosting them from the past or something. Sometimes they might think that you need something from them. It depends again on them, not on you, and you don't need to blame yourself for people not replying you or anything. Yeah. But most of the people would be, hey, yeah, lovely to meet, like to finally see you in my inbox. Let's go have coffee or something. And this is how you start, like step by step, by doing those small communication things, and like coffee with this person, coffee with that person. Then, for example, you have a problem and you know that your friend Mike can help you with that, or he knows someone who can help with that. And after you had some conversations with them, after you've reacted to some of their stories and everything, or been helpful to them, it would be really a great thing for them to help you. They would be happy to do that, and not because they're like doing you a favor or something, because they would be happy to be helpful. That's it.
You are speaking about such a simple thing, but
yes,
sometimes in such a busy workflow, people forget about that, and we are all on the phones, and sometimes people forget to communicate offline, to meet people, to look just around and to see what's going on, like who are people around me, right?
I know. It's really hard, and it's really important actually to like spend time on that. So for me, whenever I wake up, since I'm working with all the time zones possible, when I wake up, it's around hour or 2 hours of just replying to my friends, acquaintances, or people who wrote me.
Wow.
Yes, it's a lot. And like some days I just wake up and I think that, wow, I need to do my job. How am I going to do the job when it's like, it's a lot. And I love voice messages, and people do reply me in voice messages as well.
Yeah. I know that.
And thank God there is like 2 weeks button that
You're
we can.
amazing with voice messages, by the way. Just
Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, I love it. And of course, it takes time. And sometimes you reply on the go and everything. But I do spend this time willingly with pleasure, because after I do that, you know, I love to archive every chat I have so that I don't have anything in my inbox. So for example, how do I remember that I replied to people? I reply to them and I archive the chat.
okay, so
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, you can do it in
organizing
WhatsApp.
your
Yeah, exactly. And at the same time, you are not thinking, okay, did I forget to reply Fiona or not? You are not thinking about like how many chats you have there. You don't have this whole amount of notifications and everything. So it's just step by step.
Speaking about external forms of communication critical for entrepreneurs. So it's not only about personal messages, yeah, it's also about online presence, how you communicate outside to people, to the world,
Yeah.
who you are, what you do, website, Instagram, let's speak about that. What would you mention, what's important, how to do that? Maybe there will be some insights for people who didn't do any of those steps.
So for me, it's really important to keep the uniqueness of the client, of the CEO, founder of the business, because sometimes when PR people come, they're like, okay, you can't say that, you can't do that. We'll like make 7 strict, I don't know, characters for you on Instas that you can use, like you as a husband, you as a father, you as a golf player, and that's it. And that's it. It's not about being yourself on social media. And this is something that I have seen that really distresses people, because even like guys who understand that they need that for business, like Forbes guys or like really big entrepreneurs and everything, at some point they really break. And I've seen examples of really impressive Forbes entrepreneurs, like really impressive. They were like in 100 top Forbes lists in some countries. And their peer managers, they really did the strict things for them just because they were working very closely without like really important things like money, financing and everything. And so every mistake could cause a lot of money. And they've been following those rules. And as soon as they, I don't know, sell the company, as soon as they, you know, go to IPO and everything, yeah. You see dancing him with the strippers on the Instagram. Because people are really tired of like being, I don't know, all nice and sweet and everything, and they can't be themselves. It's a really great pressure. So of course, I mean, you can dance with strippers. It's like, you can do that. Yeah, you can do different things. But if...
Not a good advice.
But for example, I mean, if you have a certain character, and most entrepreneurs do, they're really unique people, and for me it's a pleasure working with them, because they have, like, for example, if they're entrepreneurs at a very young age, very successful ones, they are different from most people that, for example, you meet, because they worked so much and so hard on one sphere that they didn't have time to work on other spheres. So some of them may not know how to communicate with people properly, and that's fine. Some of them don't know how to do, I don't know, simple things, and that's fine. Sometimes when they go just to drive in their car, not going anywhere, but like for fun, they're like, wow, I can do that. And they see it in their, I don't know, Ferrari or McLaren or something, and they were like, wow, they are so happy as children, like as kids. And this is very unique and important also to keep in mind for entrepreneurs, that it's okay that you don't know something, and it's okay that some simple things can make you happy and everything. You can talk about that. You can, like,
to be more open.
Yeah,
right?
to be more open. And again, if you are not certain about some things, you can ask your peer manager. And again, it's very important to like really be open about who you are, but at the same time it's important to integrate some messages from your business. So for example, if you like, you shouldn't be a person who loves meat and doing the vegetarian company and saying that, okay, go vegan, that would be strange, of course. So but most of the businesses now, they come from personal experience, not for money. They come from personal desires of the person to make the life better.
Yeah. So,
and this is what's important. So this person would be thinking about getting the world better. And if he posts it on Insta, if he tells about his personal story, even though it will be like, I don't know, not very okay for them to share some personal stories. They can do step by step, so you can always do that in steps, so it's fine just to see how people react and everything, and that would be completely fine. So yeah, first thing, if we're speaking about being public, like doing some publicity, be yourself. Like really be yourself. If there are some things that you're afraid people won't understand, won't accept and everything, just don't give them away right away. You're not like asked to do that. Just be careful step by step. And of course there are some, I don't know, niches or countries in which you can't just go straight forward and tell about some things, and it's also okay. Just choose for yourself if it's comfortable or not comfortable for you. That's it. And then whenever you're promoting a company, whenever you're like business owner or founder, talk to your PR managers. How can your social media, first of all, not spoil the work of PR manager, and second of all, how can they help if you are willing to do that also? So for example, if like one of your posts or one of your reels would be about your company, done by your PR manager, but in your tone of voice, there will be no harm. And again, if you don't have like anything to do with PR, you don't want the PR managers, you don't see they're useful for you, it's good for you to have LinkedIn, first of all, up to date and up and running and working. Your assistant can do that for you, like compile all your history of like work, projects or everything.
About the US, right?
Yeah.
If you're in US, LinkedIn.
Actually, it's about international, yeah, because how would people know who you are? They either read it, I don't know, in press, or they read it like on your website, but the best thing to know you is actually LinkedIn, because they see who you are linked to, what did you do, what university you went to, what jobs did you have, blah, blah, blah. So you have all of that, and it's really comfortable, and it's like the most popular, common way in
trustworthy.
Yeah.
You cannot just put like I'm the Tsar of kingdom.
That's it.
Like
that's
on Instagram, right?
The empress of content. Yeah. Yeah. So exactly. So there, where you go for professional information for person. So it's really important to keep that one up to date, just so people could also know why would they contact you in case they need you. Second of all, here it's also important to do Twitter work, just so again, like some media people know that you're alive, you're up and running, you have some news and everything. It's important to have your website, like not your personal professional website, but if you are freelance, then your personal professional website, of course. Some portfolio or something. If you don't want to be that public with the website, you can have some presentation about you, but the presentation that will show your experience as well, and you can send it to the clients that you need. So for example, this is my way of doing things. I've been working behind the scenes so many years that I'm really shy of taking out my website or something out there, because for me it's like shouting about something, and I'm like, okay, no, I'll be shy. I'll be this person behind, the dark horse. So people come to me by referral, so I don't need to do like much advertising and everything, and I'm not going to like grow from one people or from 2 people or from 10 people to 1,000. So for me it's fine. And again, it's like
at this stage of your life.
Yes, at this stage. My astrologist told me that I will be like a very powerful person. So yeah, vote for me whenever I will. Vote for me whenever I'll be president.
Sure.
Yep. So Instagram would be really great, but some people don't like to spend time on that. So again, it's either your assistant he could just film you working and do some stuff. You can talk on the camera, because I have a lot of entrepreneurs who are amazing in person, and I always like shake them like this, please do something, some content like for interview or for reels or something, because you
show up.
Just because they're extraordinary. But again, it's about spending a lot of energy on that. So if you have someone who's helping you, who's like filming you, who's like bits by bits completing like the parts of your life for your Instagram, so that people would see you're alive and doing something, that's great.
Yeah, we just talk how to hire assistants, so
so now you know. Also for, I don't know, you can hire people especially just for doing your social media, and also that's a thing that they could do for your business and for you. And now if we're speaking about being a brand, being like a freelancer, you need clients. And how do you get clients? You get them on your personal brand. So if you're not doing your personal LinkedIn or personal Instagram, or not selling something via Instagram and something, how do you work?
Yeah, that's absolutely,
So yeah, there might be recommendations of you, because that's like the best way, of course, to find work is through someone recommending you straight away. And usually when you're recommended or referred by someone, no one ever asks for your work, like previous work, and that's like still a big wow for me, that you can really like get any work if some Mike recommended you to Susie, and that's it. And this is trust, and this is also something that you should be aware of. And that's why if you confirm with your social media presence that, okay, you can trust me because I did XYZ, that's great.
Yeah. What will be your top advice, 5 advice to people who would love to do the same career in PR communications as you did? Just like 1, 2, 3,
Sure.
5.
I guess the first thing is find someone to work with. So be their shadow, like really some professional maybe, or some senior manager. You don't need some big star for that, and shadow them. Offer them to work for them like as an assistant, or to help them for free, whatever you feel comfortable with, and really see how it works from the inside. Because PR is mostly about building connections, about seeing the real work done by hands. It's not something that you can read about, or I don't know, watch the series about or some. So I mean, most of us saw the series called Scandal. It's about press secretary. Have you learned much? No. So it's all about getting your hands on work. Second of all, what you can do is you can read about journalists. You can listen to their podcasts. For example, there are a few podcasts where journalists meet journalists. They tell about how to pitch each other. They're talking about what topics to send them, what annoys them, what doesn't annoy them. So it's also really important just to get in touch with, like to listen to those people and understand how they work. Third thing that I would recommend, that may be something really strange, but I always meet some journalists and contributors on Tinder, on Hinge, on Raya, everywhere. And it's really funny, but I mean, in PR, whenever you pitch the journalist, it's really fine for him not to reply ever. Like, ever. Even if you pitch them for a gazillion times.
But on Tinder.
Yeah, really. No, it's the funniest thing alive, but like a few weeks ago, no, it was last week on Raya, I had 3 people from Men's Health, from GQ, and from, from Vanity Fair or something, just texting me, and I was like, really, guys? I mean, could we do the same over the emails?
I never expected that.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. And it states that I'm PR person, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Now you're on top, okay, whatever. So yeah, so it's really important to get to know how journalists work, so you can do it in the most unusual ways. We're meeting someone because you don't need to date with them or something. You just grab a cup of coffee and you just talk about how they work, what has changed, I don't know, in their media, or what has changed in their job, because again, it's about constant changes. Even after COVID, I mean, it got things complicated at first thing, but now it's like we understood how everyone works after COVID, so it gets easier. So yeah, it's about, was it the third one? So it was about like making the connections with the real journalists and talking to them.
Journalists.
Yeah.
So actually, that's
the fourth thing that I would recommend is, I guess that's a hard one to formulate. So whenever you do PR, it's not about making publications about your client. It's deeper about covering the key messages of your client to some media outlet.
Absolutely.
And it's really important for you to understand how it works. So either look at some cases on the market, or listen to some PR people. Like usually all the PR experts talk online, like via stories or IGTVs, about how they reached that publication or that publication. So for example, one of my favorite stories is there is one PR expert in Boston, and she explained, like she was speaking about how she did the story in Vogue for her client that took her almost a year. And this was an amazing experience also for me, because I didn't feel that much pressure that I didn't do like vlog for some of my clients, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And also be a part of the PR society, so listen attentively to what all of those are saying. So because now I have a lot of PR friends, especially here in US, and I know what the industry is doing right now, how it's working, what's new and everything, and I know some of the cases of their work. And it's really important for me to know that, just because again I know how to work myself and I know what to expect, and that's really important. And the fifth part would be is try to find something that would help you to relax, because it's one of the most stressful jobs that you can get.
It sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds like, because you have to be in touch, in contact like 24/7. You have to know what's going on. So for example, for some of my clients, I don't know, it was really 24/7 without any weekends or days off or anything. And things could happen over the holiday or like over any other day, every other night, so you never know. So sometimes like here, whenever like I'm traveling to some places where time zones are different, there's always a manager on the project that oversees it in the time zone where the project is. So for example, now I have some projects like in Europe, so I have like the designated manager who like sees what's going on, and I can wake up and I can receive some news and I would be, can I sleep more, please? Can I close my eyes and like make it go away or something? So yeah, so try to find something that relaxes you. Try to find maybe, again, if you want your weekends like all for yourself, trying to find companies that do not have crisis every other week. So that would be like the last, but very important advice as well.
Oh, thank you so much. It's awesome. Yeah, and any book you would recommend to people who want to handle those things?
My most thank you. So since I have such a hectic job, I don't have much time on reading myself. I try to keep an eye on everything that's going on, and I know that there are not that many books in PR in any country. So even here, where there are a lot of press, a lot of things to do, a lot of people to write books, because they're like an amazing amount of expert PR managers are located here as well. It's like around, I don't know, less than 10 books, which you would find like in top 10 books on PR or anything. But the book that I would actually recommend to read is Keith Ferrazzi, Never Dine Alone. I think that's the name. So it's the book that really shaped all my approach to networking and to contacting people. So it's the book about just communication, just network, and it really starts very simply. It starts with some experience of this guy with his wife, and he tells that whenever you understand that every person is like you, whenever you understand that we are living on the same earth, whenever you understand that we are this earth, you will find an easy connection to every person. And this thing that you will have your calm mind, you will have a really positive vibe, the person will get it too. And whenever you're stressed or you need to ask something, again, the person will feel it too. So just relax. He's just like you, and just start talking to them. And like from that advice, the book starts, and there are some really, really, really useful things, small things, again, that we don't notice, but that if we do them, really our communication with our friends, family, or just people we met on the street could get really strong.
Yeah, strong, clear, and high level.
Yeah.
To just building deep relationships.
And for me also, important. It's not about books, it's about actually exploring myself with coach, with therapist, because again, all those things, they help you communicate. If you understand yourself clearly, you can understand how to communicate what you think, and then the person who you are talking to, he will also understand it more clearly. So it's about, you know, moving all those things that
self-awareness.
Self-awareness and self-esteem, self-awareness. That's what you work on, and you actually get the clear communication, communicating online or offline.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what. Yeah. Actually, I think I wanted to ask you something, but it was the right moment to do that. I missed that. I will ask you now.
Of course.
And then the last question,
Okay.
and we can just go. Yeah. What are the specifics of American media? So you've been working in so many countries with Asian, European markets, and you assimilate very well with the cultures, and you learn a lot from insiders. But what are the differences? Maybe like working in US with media, with journalists, and in Kazakhstan or in Europe, Russia, whatever country is that?
So yeah, it's really different from country to country. So for example, here in US, everyone wants to be in US media because it's the biggest ones, and everyone wants to be on Forbes, like entrepreneurs, I've said, like if you're a startup, then it's like TechCrunch and everything, and everyone wants to get on those media. So the amount of people who is writing to the journalist, to pitch to the journalist, is crazy. So sometimes journalists can receive up to like 1,000 emails a day. And even if your pitch is perfect, it's brilliant, like he might never open it, and that's fine. So the first thing is to find this approach to the journalist, so he would at least open your email. The second thing is, again, the amount of requests for the journalist is crazy. So you have to find that angle and that topic that this particular journalist would really like to write about. And again, it's like a big job. So it usually takes a lot of time and effort to scan through every, for example, business media, if you're working with like startup who wants to get into business media. So you scan every business media that could be relevant for this client. You scan through every journalist on there to see what topics they've covered that are related to your client. And then you brainstorm on what topics to offer that or that contributor or journalist, because there are also various positions of them in the media, and then you pitch them. And then if he, for example, opened your pitch but never replied, then you think of different angles, again, on top of those that you have already sent them, that would be maybe now interesting to him. So it's actually more work than on any other market. Just for me, it feels like a lot of big thinking, a lot of so it's like you do a lot and then you might never get a publication. And this is a hard thing to, first of all, tell your client. And it's a hard thing to understand yourself, just, you know, to calm down and don't have that much pressure on you. So it's for various it's for various markets. So again, it depends on your product, on your client, and it depends on the market that you are working in.
And jump into the last question. What is your definition of success?
For me, being successful is actually equals to being happy. So as far as I wake up happily in this world, you know, not with the desire to crawl back. And as long as I wake up and I'm happy to live this day, as long as I'm happy to all those things that are happening in my job, and as long as I really feel that after doing a full day job, I'm actually full of energy and I want to jump on the next day and the next day. This is, for me, is the definition of success, that you have found yourself, found your place, and you actually enjoy everything that's going on.
Wow, Polina, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for chatting, for such an amazing conversation. And thank you for watching, and see you next time.